Diane Schwenke, the CEO of the Grand Junction Area Chamber of Commerce, and as you may have noticed, our special guest has arrived. So on behalf of the Chamber and the community leaders and the business folks who are here with us today, Governor, I just want to say thank you so much for coming to the Western Slope. We think it's the best slope also, but sharing your message outside the halls of the Capitol with regard to your plans for the state. So without further ado, let me introduce the Governor of the great state of Colorado, Jared Polis.
Thank you, Diane. It is a great pleasure to be with you here in beautiful Grand Junction to share with you some of our vision for the state and where we need to go. I shared this vision with the Republicans and Democrats in our state legislature a couple weeks ago, and also had the chance and opportunity to do so in Colorado Springs, and now I'm excited to share it with you in Mason County. First, I want to thank the Grand Junction Area Chamber of Commerce and all your members for the work you're doing to strengthen our economy, to strengthen our communities here on the Western Slope. And of course, I want to thank the community for your resilience and creativity, especially during the pandemic, where Mesa County led the way in so many areas. We've been through a lot these last 2 years, but it never ceases to amaze me how strong the Colorado spirit is, especially in the most difficult of times. I had the opportunity to highlight some of that spirit in my State of the Union in Denver. We invited some of your great staff from the school district, from Central Mesa High School, in celebration of students and faculty members there who stood up a series of vaccination clinics. And many of the students worked 10 to 12 hours a day, even before they themselves were eligible for the vaccine, to successfully vaccinate more than 1,300 community members. And I was proud to be joined by Central Mesa High School staff at the state capitol to celebrate their achievement. And of course, joining us today is Mesa County 51 Superintendent Dr. Diane Serco and Dr. Brian Hill, and I want to thank them for their service. When we look at how Colorado has fared better than most, even during this most recent Omicron wave, it's directly a result of the fact that we have a higher vaccination rate than many of our neighboring states. We're 10th in the nation, and for a large state, that's saying something. Some of the higher states are very small states in the Northeast, so we are among the larger states, one of the top states, and therefore our hospital capacity, while it got close, was never exceeded, and we topped out around 93-94% hospital capacity. Now, there's probably folks here from the hospital and they don't like being at that capacity, but at least it's not over 100. And now, of course, it's decreased and we're back under 90%, and we're very grateful for that. And I would, of course, wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't encourage everybody here to make sure you also get that third dose of the vaccine. It is very effective in maintaining that protection. I did it, my family did it, and of course we were proud to get our 10-year-old and 7-year-old vaccinated as well. One less thing to worry about. Another example of the innovation that Mesa County showed during the pandemic was the 5-Star program, which helped keep Mesa County restaurants open during some of the hardest days of the pandemic. And frankly, it was something that other counties across the state learned from and implemented. And it started right here with Mesa County Health, the commissioners, the city, the business community, you at the chamber. And we are so proud of how that program helped not just Mesa County restaurants, but frankly, restaurants in many other areas of the state. Of course, we also know that this area was affected by Mesa County, one of the 3 largest wildfires in the history of our state in the summer of 2020, and of course, the devastating mudslides that restricted access to the area, closed Highway 70 for several weeks. We are joined by our Colorado Department of Transportation Executive Director, Shoshana Liu. Shoshana? Who worked tirelessly to get Glenwood Canyon open, which we did ahead of schedule with some innovation and thoughtful engagement with the contractors. We were able to minimize the closure time there. And of course, we are working with Mesa County and Garfield and Eagle on additional bypasses for future events. And we want to make sure we make that commitment to maintain access in Western Colorado. We're also joined by a member of my cabinet, Rick Garcia, Department of Local Affairs, who's no stranger as well to Mesa County. He supports a lot of the activities of both the county, the city, affordable housing developments, including here in Grand Junction, and we're excited to have him join us as well here in Grand Junction. You know, it's in the spirit of resilience and strength that we showed from the fires, from the pandemic, from the mudslides, that really make me more confident about the future of Mesa County and the future of Colorado. It's why we're doubling down in our commitment to save Coloradans and individuals. Coloradans' money. Continue to have a strong, thank you, environment to help our small businesses grow and improve affordability. I'm proud to say that Colorado's economy is recovering faster and stronger than most of our neighboring states. We continue to add good-paying jobs. In fact, one of the biggest things we hear in Mesa County, in the high country, in the Front Range, is many businesses are doing so well they can't find enough people to hire. But the good news is the customers are there, and it all flows from that. And obviously we're also committed to addressing those workforce issues that we face. But this has been a tough 2 years, and we know that Colorado is an amazing place to live. But we want to make sure that we can save people money wherever they can and make sure that people can hold on to more of their hard-earned money. And that's not a new idea for my administration by any means. It's coming into office. We've taken enormous steps to save people money on everything from healthcare, where we passed the bipartisan reinsurance program, which reduced healthcare premiums here in Western Colorado by over 30% in the exchange. That's for everybody who doesn't get it from their employer. Brought down rates 30%. 2 cuts to the income tax. We reduced the property tax assessment rate for property taxes. And we are also excited to continue to reduce costs by preventing increases in driver's licenses, reducing vehicle registration fees by $11.50 per vehicle, and making sure that there are no new fees in the next year on gas. And because our revenues are strong, I'm also proud to say that families will receive a tax refund of $74 this year from the state. And next year it gets even better. We're anticipating that that refund will be over $400 per family, and an additional income tax cut, cutting the income tax by 1.1% more. Many of you know that I'm an entrepreneur, a businessman. I started several small businesses, created hundreds of jobs, and that's why I'm also particularly excited to foster Colorado's strong entrepreneurial spirit. We want to make sure that entrepreneurs can cut through the red tape, and one of our proposals that we look forward to working on is making it free for any Coloradan to start a business. Free to incorporate, free to start an LLC. Now look, that doesn't cost a lot. I think it's $75 to incorporate, but you know what? If you only have $400 or $500 to start your business, $75 is a lot of money. And we want that $75 to go for you getting the tools you need to succeed in your business rather than just some filing fee at the state of Colorado. It's not just about fostering a strong environment for new business. We all want to strengthen the businesses we already have. One of the key things we're able to achieve with regard to tax reform is eliminating the requirement for tens of thousands of small businesses in Colorado to have to file or pay the business personal property tax. No business with under $50,000 in assets, these are in physical assets. It's not the money, it's if you're $50,000 in hard physical assets. So like many restaurants would have less than $50,000 in assets. They no longer need to file or pay the business personal property tax. So that saves them money, but just as importantly, also saves them time, because it's one less thing to file with your county assessor. And I was actually with the county assessor earlier this morning in another county, and they said they appreciated it too, because they didn't like that paperwork either. So it saved the paperwork on the government side, and it saved paperwork on the business side. We also, as you know, a priority in this session, and we look forward to working with your chamber and chambers across the state to infuse $600 million or more into the Unemployment Insurance Relief Fund. This is needed on a one-time basis simply because of all the draws on that fund from the pandemic. And if we can successfully restore solvency to the Unemployment Insurance Trust Relief Fund, as many states are doing, we can avoid costly payroll tax increases that will otherwise occur to restore solvency to that fund. So we look forward to working with you on that priority and count on your help ensuring strong Western Slope support from your delegation in the State House and the State Senate, because we should not let local businesses bear that burden alone. That's just a glimpse of some of the many things that we're hoping to accomplish in the weeks and months ahead. Helping people hold on to more of their hard-earned money, saving families money. And saving families money is also about how we can improve childcare and early childhood education in the state of Colorado. Because if you ask families with kids what their biggest cost is, right after health care and rent or mortgage will come their kids. We are excited that in my very first year in office, we got free full-day kindergarten through. And we're very excited that Mesa 51 is doing a terrific job offering that. And the voters approved, with more than 2/3 of the vote, our universal preschool program. And I have to say how great it was to see counties across our state, Mesa County, Denver County, El Paso County, red, blue, rural, urban, all speaking with one voice that yes, kids should be able to go to preschool. And we look forward to working with community providers and school districts to save parents upwards of $1,000 a month on preschool bills. Now, we look at preschool and kindergarten fundamentally as a benefit for the kids, which it is. My kids had it, some of yours might have, and that's okay if you had a parent at home and your kids didn't need it and you got them the early childhood education there, that's fine too. But for many kids, it helps prepare them for success. But it's also about more than just the kids. It's also about saving their parents money, and it's also about today's workforce. Freeing up single moms to be able to work, two-parent households for both to be able to earn money to put food on the table and support their family. We passed in 2020 $45 million in emergency relief to expand childcare and early childhood support, and we look forward to continuing to increase that investment to make Colorado more livable, to prepare our next generation of kids for success, and to benefit the workforce, especially women in the workforce, today and tomorrow. I'm also particularly excited that we are investing in our public schools. Our new budget proposes an over 8% increase to school funding in the state of Colorado. Now, what does that mean? That means for a class of 25 kids, an increase of about $13,000. It's the biggest increase that has occurred as long as our folks looked up the books and as long as they could find. I'm sure, maybe 100 years ago they had a bigger one, I don't know. But at least for the last 20 years, this is the biggest increase that we've had in public education investment. And with our local control, it's up to school districts how best to deploy that. That is usually a combination of improving teacher salaries, reducing class size, maybe in some schools restoring programs that might have been cut, like the arts or other things for budget reasons. And we also are working with the legislature, including, of course, Joint Budget Committee member Bob Rankin from Western Colorado, to make sure that there is a steady funding path for several years for whatever investment we're able to make in our public schools today. Because as Diane knows, it's very hard to administer if it bounces around and changes a lot. We want to make sure we're saying this is an investment we're making in our schools, and we're also able to put funds in the state education fund and reserves to make sure that people know that this increase over the next 3 or 4 years will be continued by the state of Colorado. And it is my commitment to you that we will. We're also hoping to lead by renovating state facilities, including higher education facilities that have on-site daycare, both for their own faculty and staff, as well as for students who want to be able to continue their education even if they have a young child. In the midst of a workforce transition, as is the rest of the country. And the old traditional ways don't always work in the new economy, which means focusing on skills-based education. We have to recognize that learners are of all ages. They're of course youth, but they're also people mid-career transitioning to another sector, people who want to upskill or reskill in the middle of their career, perhaps even several times over their lives. I'm proud to say that Mesa County is helping to lead on that front. We want to take some of the models here and help scale them across the state. Not only has there been great success collaborating across industries, including education, in Mesa, the business community, workforce centers, but you were also one of the first pilot sites for career-wise apprenticeships for youth, as we look forward to finding meaningful apprenticeship opportunities for high school students to be able to successfully enter the workforce with a good job and get on-the-job skills and learning while they remain in school. Apprenticeships are really a key aspect of helping Coloradans get the skills they need to fill the jobs of the future, and of course, from the company's side, helping to make sure that the needs of tomorrow's workforce is met. We're looking forward to expanding access to work-based learning opportunities, apprenticeships, navigational services, supporting job seekers that might not have the digital skills to initiate their own employment searches. We're also looking to invest in Coloradans seeking in-demand credentials at our community colleges and our technical colleges. And as you know, Colorado Mesa University is somewhat unique in being both a college and a community college. And I'm proud to say they're partnering with St. Mary's and Community Hospital to grow the number of healthcare professionals in the Grand Valley, something that is really needed at this time. Specifically, they're working together to expand clinical slots and boost the number of trained nurses, resulting in a third of the graduating class finding employment each year in the Grand Junction community, retaining them right here to help meet tomorrow's workforce needs. We need to have more examples like this across the state of this kind of collaboration between school districts, community colleges, vocational training centers, to really make sure that we are prepared to meet the workforce needs of tomorrow and that we're equipping individuals with the skills they need to thrive in tomorrow's economy. Another key component of a strong workforce is housing. And as we all know, the cost of housing has gone up. It's often priced people out of neighborhoods, made people live further from where the jobs are, therefore leading to longer commutes and more traffic, and the need for more public investment in roads. This isn't a new issue for our state. We're a growing state. We've been experiencing this for some time, but it has gotten worse over the last several years, especially in western Colorado and in our high country. Now, we've already been investing in reducing housing costs, and as I mentioned, Rick Garcia is here from the Department of Local Affairs. We funded more than 14,000 units of affordable housing. But my administration is excited to partner with Republicans and Democrats in the legislature to use the historic one-time funds that we've received through the American Rescue Act and through our prudent budgeting practices at the state to be able to leverage that into additional housing opportunities across Colorado. So right now we are looking forward to delivering on really making a transformational change in housing supply here in Colorado. And that means projects like mixed income apartments that are being planned right nearby in Fruita. In fact, DOLA recently awarded a loan to IndieBuild to purchase a property where they're going to begin construction of 50 units, where it serves residents all the way up to 120% immediate income, of area medium income, to be able to afford to live in the community. And it was rather shocking when I found out that that is actually the first affordable housing project in Fruita since 1984. And as you know, it is needed, and it won't solve the whole problem, but it'll absolutely help workers be able to live in the community in which they work. Or Laurel House, which has 34 units available for vulnerable youth right here in Grand Junction. We supported through state funding the acquisition of another property to expand housing opportunities for Laurel House. And we really treasure our collaborative relationships with local governments and community leaders to maximize the impact of these one-time funds. So when the state is stepping up, it also means that we hope to be in a role where we can match cities and counties that are also stepping up to meet the affordable housing needs in our community. We are also taking a thoughtful approach when it comes to improving public safety in Colorado. I articulated our goal in my State of the State of making Colorado one of the 10 safest states over the next 5 years. And we're currently 24th or 29th, depending on what metric you're using. We joined legislators, chiefs of police, sheriffs, district attorneys, including your own very thoughtful district attorney, Rubenstein, who's very involved in helping us craft these kinds of policies at the state level, to release a responsible public safety package that will truly put us on the path to becoming one of the safest states. Our plan, of course, gives men and women in law enforcement more support for recruiting and retention. We hear from law enforcement agencies across the state, and it's not unique to law enforcement, it's particularly pronounced in law enforcement, that they have a lot of vacancies that they aren't able to fill. and we're providing financial support that can be used for retention bonuses, recruitment bonuses to help them do that. We also look forward to building on community policing models, increasing access to mental health and behavioral health services, including substance abuse treatment. Our package provides funding for opportunities for local programs like the Co-Responder Unit, which is a great collaboration between the Grand Junction Police Department and therapists to provide mental health support for those experiencing a crisis. That frees up our law enforcement resources to fight crime and gets people who are having a mental health crisis the help they need. We're providing critical funding to fight domestic violence, and we'll make key safety improvements in our schools and also physical improvements in our streets to reduce crime. The plan would also give the Colorado Bureau of Investigations the resources and staffing to investigate additional crimes, break up crime rings, bring them to justice, and turn around forensic evidence quickly to secure convictions. This is just the first step. But we're very much looking forward to working with community leaders and law enforcement across the state to make Colorado safer for everyone. Finally, we know that investments in infrastructure, in roads and bridges, are a key part of our success as a state. In 2021, with support and funding from the historic transportation package launched last year, Colorado Department of Transportation completed 117 projects, and I'm proud to say paved 622 miles of rural roads, the most in recorded history, and more than 100 projects are out for bid this year. In Mesa County, CDOT is working on the stretch of US 50 between Grand Junction and Delta, providing new asphalt, improved guardrails and striping to make our rural highways safer, easier to travel, reducing traffic. The project will resume in April, and we expect it will be done by June. We're also making improvements along I-70B east of 1st to 15th Street, including a new transit lane, a new bus stop locations, a bicycle and pedestrian path that helps connect multiple trails with city bicycle corridors, and also creating a centralized mobility hub to help further drive economic growth, improve safety, and provide more options to commuters, to residents, and to visitors. Shortly, I'll be joining CDOT and Grand Junction city officials and community leaders to discuss the next steps for this exciting mobility hub project. Just the kind of innovation that we hope to see replicated in communities across Colorado. We've been proud to invest in improvements at the Montrose Regional Airport, and we're very excited about the work here at the Grand Junction Airport. In the last 3 years, we've continued to receive state grants through aeronautics for aircraft pavement maintenance and equipment. And we're very excited about the next stages for the Grand Junction Airport as well, and increased service. As we strengthen the connection between our communities by investing in roads and transit, we also need to strengthen our virtual connections through broadband. At the beginning of the pandemic, more than 11% of households in Mesa County didn't have reliable access to broadband. That became more urgent for folks. And while we've made progress, there's still a lot of work to do. Today, after completing this speech, which is only two more hours, I will be signing a executive order that sets in place the ambitious goal of connecting over 99% of Colorado households to high-speed broadband in the next 4.5 years. And we're going to get it done, and we articulate the way we're going to do it. It wouldn't be fair of me not to also point out that we couldn't achieve this lofty goal without the help of the bipartisan infrastructure package that passed the United States Congress. That it provides some of the funding along with state funding and coordination to get this done. We direct our Colorado Broadband Office to coordinate the various state agencies working together to ensure that we achieve this goal on or ahead of schedule. Stronger broadband access means a stronger economy. It means more flexibility for businesses and workers to live and locate anywhere in our great state. It bolsters recruitment and retention efforts. It's also strengthens public safety and lessens the strain on infrastructure. And yes, it saves people money, especially in those rural areas. For example, we know that healthcare providers are often limited in rural areas, and it can be very expensive to travel, sometimes hours, to get care. Lost time, lost wages, gas. Access to telehealth is a critical way that we're working to save Coloradans money on healthcare, and you cannot do that without broadband. I'm proud of the investments that we are making, and we will achieve our goal of over 99% of Colorado households connected in the next 4.5 years as we lay the groundwork to close existing gaps and support economic growth. To sign this broadband deal, I'm happy to invite Grand Junction Mayor Chuck McDaniel, County Commissioner Cody Davis, and Chamber CEO Diane Schwenke to join me as we sign this EO. It's a statewide EO, but we wanted to sign this, of course, here in Mesa County today. There we go. See, I use 3 pens. We have a very exciting opportunity. In this case, it's making the most of federal investments coupled with state investments, organizing it in an efficient way to deliver high-speed broadband access to households across the state of Colorado. So important for Mesa County, so important for Western Colorado, so important for our entire state. I know that the Chamber is focused on supporting the business environment here in Grand Junction, in Mesa County, and across Colorado. I wanted you to know that we are right there beside you to help make sure that Colorado stays one of the best places to do business in the entire United States. Together, we can save Coloradans money, we can strengthen our local businesses, the backbone of our community, and yes, we can protect the Colorado way of life. Thank you, God bless Colorado, and God bless the United States of America.